Oh, okay. I am live. Well, that took me way longer than I thought it would, um, to actually be able to go live, but I'm glad I'm finally doing it. I think I'll not be able to go as long as I did yesterday, probably just for like an hour and a half or something, but that still should hopefully get us through a lot more of the documents. And I was, as I mentioned in my, so basically, I should say, I am ACAB True Crime, and I am a former forensic psychologist, and now um, I guess I just am more of a like writer and someone like that wants to give my opinion on things and not deal with the bullshit system of the prison system, but I still kind of know all the ins and outs, so I think it gives me a pretty good vantage point to share from people. And I think I have some like unique perspectives that a lot of people don't consider. And it's just a little nuanced. And I think, um, it's not for me to like be trying to be like all like, I don't know what's shock factor, but this is like literally like how I think and like how I've come to look at things over like my last 20 years of professional and personal lives. So, and I am yeah, so what I have been doing is like well, first of all, I'm gonna start off with um doing a little because I've been feeling kind of nervous and I'm still getting used to going live. So I have a little um I guess like mantra that I wanna say before we go, before we start. And then I'm gonna light some candles and some incense so we can stay about it during the live. Wait, hold on, where's my lighter? No, uno momento. What the hell? Really, dude? Okay, just one sec, one sec. Okay. Oh, ready. Coming back, coming down. Okay, ready. Um, all right, here we go. Here's my little spell, or I don't know if you want to call it a spell, but just a little, like I said, a little mantra. I'm gonna turn off this whole thing right now. Okay. As I dive into these documents, I am shielded from all negativity. My energy remains clear. My mind stays focused, and my voice carries strength and positivity. So mote it be. All right, so that should give us hopefully some good vibes, and I feel like that's just helpful to start off. Like it just gives me a little like oomph for going live, and then also I think it's important to. Oh, and I'll bring a little this just because we're like dealing with like a lot of negative energy in these documents, like period, even if you don't believe in stuff like that, like just that energy when you go read these, it's obviously pretty heavy. So I think it's good to start off with that. All right, cool. So this is the second video of the series that I'm going to be doing on going over all of the newly unsealed documents that have been published in the Idaho 4 Bryan Kohberger case. They just went live yesterday. I shouldn't say live. I did go live yesterday, but the documents dropped yesterday afternoon, and there's like 250 of them, and they're like all ones that we haven't really seen. And there's still like some stuff that's redacted and it's new information. So it kind of is taking me a little while to go through them. I was going back and forth whether or not I should just read them all and then come back and just summarize. But if I was watching me, I would want to hear the documents for myself. So I'm going to just keep going with that. Yesterday I was on live for like 5 hours, but like I said, today I'm only going to be doing like an hour and a half. And I also have this other live that I've been working on for a while that I want to present that I think is really important too. But I really just wanted to stick with the documents today just because they're pretty exciting. But I do really want to do that live maybe tomorrow or something. So also I have a cuckoo clock if you did not know. So just FYI. All right, so let's do this. So yeah, like I said, we started it yesterday and we went through the first 25 documents and I read them out loud and I did some highlighting, although I don't know if I saved the documents, like they might have been online. I don't know if I saved them. I don't really know what I'm doing, but sorry, thank you. So let's just jump into it. This is, oh wait, hold up. Love that for us. Okay, wait. What the fuck? Okay, this will be good. Alrighty, so this is, like I said, document number 26. Bitch. Okay, here we go. Okay, got it. Alrighty, so this is from Detective Lawrence Maury, sequence number 26, so narrative number 26. It is date 11/18/2022. This is the narrative. On November 18th, 2022, I logged into the Uber law enforcement portal, alertuber.com, and submitted an exigent preservation request for any location data associated with the Uber driver named EG. Okay, so this is something else too that I wrote down yesterday, and I want to get to the bottom and figure out what all of these initials stand for. And I actually found a really good Reddit stream, or not stream, but a Reddit, I don't know what they call it. Why am I like post or conversation? And it had a lot of the names like that I think we're seeing here. So I don't want to waste time right now looking through it, but I think when I come back on tomorrow, I will have all of those names kind of listed out so we know which ones are which, like who's who. And then I also think it might be, no, I'm not going to do that tomorrow. Okay, so let's go continue. So it says, and yeah, blah, 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 blah. E.g., with the phone number of blank. Due to the nature of the investigation, Uber recommended an exigency request for the preservation. In a screenshot received from AG, which I believe is Olivia Goncalves, it showed messages which appear to be from G phone between Kaylee Goncalves and himself. So G must be it was the Uber driver that they apparently had taken that ride home from the grub truck, and says yeah, it shows messages which appear to be from the Uber driver G. Phone between Kaylee and himself. The name of the recipient is Kaylee Uber. Okay, what? That's weird. The name of the recipient, is it from this G's name? That's Kaylee Uber is the name of his recipient? Because that's weird. Like if he's the Uber, why would he save Kaylee as Kaylee Uber? Like what? I guess maybe if you're trying. I guess sometimes I do that, like when I like find a cab or something, or I take like an Uber and I'm like kind of tipsy, and I'm always like, okay, do you want to like take this off the books, and you can be my like person that I call every time I need an Uber and see if you're around, and they're always like, yeah, yeah, because then they can just like pocket the money themselves. But then I always like forget the next day and like never try to call them. But I always end up finding all these names in my phone, or like I do usually find these names in my phone that are like Mohammed, Cabby, or something like that, you know. But anyways, moving on. So it is unknown if G was on duty with Uber at the time of him picking up Goncalves and Maddie Mogan. Uber stated if the driver was on duty, it would show the location of the vehicle. If the driver was not on duty, oh, well, this is interesting. This is like kind of fitting right into my little story that I just told. Weird. Um, Uber stated if the driver was on duty, it would show the location of the vehicle. If the driver was not on duty, Uber would not have the data. I was informed by Uber customer service this is common if the driver provides personal transportation services. That is what I just explained. So there you go. If anyone is confused about that, I just explained it. At 14:34, so 2:34, I received an email from Uber stating they received my request. I received an email at approximately 4:17 hours from Uber, which contained files regarding the Uber logs of EG. The record showed his location up until approximately 1:15 hours, where it appears no other information is found, and G goes off duty. Well, that's strange, right? Like, so he was doing Uber all night, and then right before he went to go pick up these ladies, then he like turned it off because then he knew maybe that Uber wouldn't have his location information. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, he was their Uber, but then they were like, no, they took it. He just offered free rides. And I'm like, really? So he was just this like sober guy that gave everyone rides for free, but yet he also did Uber. Like, I don't know, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but um, okay. So it says these records were attached to the case file. No warrant was requested or returned as Uber provided the data via the exigent request. That was Detective Maury, Saturday, November 19th, and reviewed by Lawrence. Okay. So, wait a second. What is this one? Well, how do I? So how do I just like close this one? Stop sharing. Okay, got it. Hello. What's going on? Come on, motherfucker. What is going on? This is annoying as hell. No, just close, biatch. Close. Oh, it was so annoying. Oh, there it is. There it is. Let's see. Sorry. Sorry for the brief delay. Okay. What the motherfucker? Okay. Alrighty. This is again by Lawrence Maury. This is document 27. Ooh, I'm thirsty. All right. Date November 18th, 2022. On November 17th, 2022, I contacted Detective Neil Uhrig of the Post Falls Police Department for assistance in examining the laptops and iPad located in the residence at 1122 King Road. Detective Uhrig arrived at the Moscow Police Department and received the following evidence item numbers. So it looks like there's 4 Apple laptops, 2 Dell laptops, and then an Apple iPad. Okay. We don't know who those are necessarily, but lovely, lovely. All right, so on to number 28 by again Maury on November 19th, 2022. This is the narrative. It says of the King video. On November 13th, 2022. Oh, this is dating back now to November 13th again. I was informed of a possible surveillance camera located at blankety blank King Road. Corporal Ryan Snyder had spoken with one of the residents at this location, PC, who had a camera using the HomeEye Pro app on the porch of their dwelling. So remember, like I think one of the documents near the end of the probably in like the 20 between 20 and 25, the last documents that we just went through. I think that they mentioned again that there was people like in the houses nearby to the 1122 King Road and that they had some security video, but that the file was too large, which has happened every single time that they need a file in this case, that it ends up not being able to take the actual file and then they have to get it in a different, like, altered way from the owners, which seems shady to me. But that's just me. All right, so let's see. Okay, okay. Corporal Snyder provided me with the username and password for the Home Pro account associated with C. I asked Corporal Snyder if this video was stored on a cloud-based system for me to view or if C could download a copy of the video. I was provided a 32 gigabyte SD card from the camera, but the file format was not recognized by any of my forensic computers and prompted me to format the disk. Bullshit. That's shady. This is like, you know, really every single fucking video that they need for this case is compromised. Really? I don't believe that. Seems a little suspicious. Okay. On November 17, 2022, I requested the assistance of Officer John Wozinski to recontact C and see if she could provide the video from the camera. Officer Rosinski contacted C, who stated she was in Boise, Idaho until November 28, 2022. Officer Rosinski C sent him a video of a male subject. What? Okay. Male subject walking by the camera at approximately 3:20 towards the dumpster. Officer Rosinski contacted me and I spoke to C and requested permission to remove the camera from the residence and she consented. So he's like, no, the like card's not working. Can I just take your whole camera? And she's like, okay. Based on my training and experience, I know many of the different video surveillance cameras use a first in, first out storage retention system. All right, I feel like we need to pay attention to this. This means the newer data overwrites the older data. I was concerned data, like, you know, like on a ring cam or something. So like basically once it gets pulled up, then they erase the old data. This means the new blah blah blah. I was concerned data may be lost the longer the camera continued to record footage. I requested assistance from Officer Aaron Morris to go to the residence and unscrew the camera from its location. The camera screws into a common light bulb base, commonly found on patio porch fixtures. Officer Morris returned a short time later with the camera and the SD card. Okay. On November 18th, 2022, I again attempted to view the contents of the SD card. I plugged the card into a write blocker. And it still was not, oh, really, was not recognized by the computer. Well, then I guess maybe you can't just use that evidence then, you know? Like, if you can't verify that it's legit, especially with all this IA lately. I used FTK Imager version number F.7.1.2 to make an image of the SD card. Now that the data was on a drive recognized by the operating system, I then used Axiom Magnet version number 6.5.0.32778 to parse data from the card. So he's saying that he got the actual camera and then he used some of these. So I feel like we should follow up here and wait, can I write like a note? Can you comment? No. All right, whatever. I feel like it would be maybe worthwhile to find out the systems and see like what they actually mean, but that's probably like something to do way later. It's not like super important now. But now that the data, blah, 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 blah. In reviewing the data, I found over 13,000 individual images from the card. They appear to be individual video frames from the camera. Oh, that reminds me. So I just like bought my dad a trail cam for, well, I shouldn't say just like in January, but he just like brought it up to our cabin and it's super fun. Like he gets he has a huge SD card, and he's always like, look at what's on the camera today. Like there's like a mom deer and a little fawn that are always like running around right in front of it. And then we have some raccoons and some foxes. And I think that's all we've seen so far besides some birds. Um, but it is kind of fun. And anyways, that is I don't know. Oh, that reminds me of like instead of like showing a whole video, it just takes like a bunch of kind of like I think you can set it up. Like you can make it like my dad could decide being like take one picture every 30 seconds that like something moves, like in the frame. So it's not like taking a picture every second because obviously like if you see, the deer there, they're probably gonna be doing the same shit in like 30 seconds or something. So that makes sense kind of like with this stuff. Says yeah, they appear to be the individual video frames from the camera. They found over 13,000 individual images from the card. Wow. But again, like I feel like that's more of like when you take like first pictures or whatever, like you just like all of a sudden take like 9 pictures or not like 90 pictures like really quick while you're just like kind of doing a video, you know what I mean? Like, but it's just like individual photos. I bet that's what this is. While attempting to view the data on the card, I received a forwarded email from CN, whose sister, MK, resides at the residence. The email stated that he was viewing the video remotely when Officer Morris removed the camera. Wait, hold up. The email stated that he was viewing the video remotely. No, no, no. This is shady as hell. What the hell? What is this all about? That's right. Let me know if you guys agree, but this is weird. Like, really? Like, so they're like, hey, can we get your video? And they're like, yeah, for sure. And then they're like, oh, wait, the video doesn't work. And then they're like, oh, cool. Can we have the camera? And then they're like, yeah, take the camera. This is all supposed to be like now not being fucked with other people. So we can actually know that it's like the legit data and they're not like splicing it with some fake data or images. But then it sounds like when they went to go view it on the card, like at the exact same moment, they received a forwarded email from these people who own the camera, or like they're some dude whose sister resides where the camera was. And it stated that this brother dude was viewing the video remotely when Officer Morris removed the camera. What? Like, why was he viewing it remotely when he removed the camera? That's weird as hell, right? Unless maybe they notified him and he was like, what's going on? And like his sister maybe didn't tell him or something. He stated that he saw a suspicious vehicle in the area and was concerned with the video footage stored on the device being overwritten. Interesting. Okay. I was then put in touch with TL, another resident at the blank King Road. L blank stated she would be back in Moscow at approximately 2000 hours. I met with L at her residence and asked again if she would be willing to assist in recording screen captures on her phone from the device. She would be willing to assist in recording. If she would be willing to assist in recording screen captures on her phone. So basically, he's like, "Yo, can you actually just like take the device and then take pictures on your phone and then give me those pictures on your phone?" Which again is like not very reliable. Like that means that it's like transferred, different actual files and turned into different files that you could have tampered with like 3 different times. I explained to Elle I would replace the camera, gather the information, and then take the camera as evidence. Replace the camera. I also explained to Elle I needed to take the wireless router. Oh. Since the camera was already linked to the Wi-Fi network. Gotcha. Elle stated she would consent and allow both items to be seized. I reinstalled the camera in the light socket and it powered on. I was able to watch as Elle accessed the footage on the camera. During this time, the camera showed a vehicle entering the area at approximately 356 hours or 356 and leaving at a high rate of speed at approximately 420 hours. Elle provided the video to me. Okay, I feel like this is like in an important part. But also to keep in mind that if this is like showing us some of the evidence that we're using to arrest Kohberger, like, then, like, hopefully they have a way to actually verify that these haven't been tampered tampered with. On November 19th, 2022, while reviewing the videos located at 356 and 420, it appeared the vehicle left the area and may have traveled on Melinda Drive. However, the video stopped. Really? How convenient. In an attempt to see further, fuck, I need to make sure that my sound system is actually set up appropriately because I'm using like a new hold the show. Oh, fuck, you guys. Oh, no. Oh, no. I don't know if you guys have been able to hear me this whole time. That sucks. Okay. Ooh, I suck. All right. Well, hopefully you can hear me, and if not, I guess no one's probably listening to that part, huh? Okie dokie. I'm everybody. Okay. Blah blah blah. In an attempt to see further and gain, actually, I'm going to make a little note real quick to myself that I should double check. I'm at 26 minutes right now, and I should double check to make sure that the volume is okay. Up until now, also I'm going to have to probably redo all that done notes. Okay. So, fucked up sound, audio, mic, yes, up until 26:45 on video. Wait, yeah, video to Unsealed docs. Okay. La 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 la. Sure. In an attempt to see further. Okay, anyways, just to reiterate, maybe if you couldn't hear me, this is like an important part that he says on November 19th, 2022, while reviewing the videos located, what does he mean by located? You mean like filmed at the time of 356 and 420? It appeared the vehicle left the area and may have traveled on Melinda Drive. However, the video stopped. It's like, really, why did it stop? It just happens to stop at that point? Like, why? Obviously, maybe it was tampered. It says, in an attempt to see further and gain perhaps a better resolution, I reconstructed the wireless network the camera operated on by powering on the wireless router. I downloaded the Home Eye Pro app on my work phone. What the? Okay. If anyone has any experience, like, with any of these systems or like some systems that are similar to them, let me know because they did this shit like with the cast data last year. It was a really similar system to stuff that I have done in previous like publications and research that I've done, like with different just like data processing software. And so I was able to kind of understand what they were talking about, and I was able to kind of be like, oh, hey, that's bullshit. No, you're not say you like entire files were messed with and presented like it was like the original file, which is like, no, dude, like, do you think we're stupid? You know what I mean? So I'm wondering if that's the same thing here, and I'm wondering like what these apps are, you know. I was able to use the app and download the video clips. Okay. These clips included audio, well, hopefully, like that's similar to my video today too, which will also include audio in yours, crossed. Which were not a part of the screenshots completed and were able to capture a longer duration. Okay, we love that for us. So at first it was just 13,000 screenshots, but now we find out that there's clips with audio and it's longer durations. In the clips, the vehicle's exhaust and acceleration can be heard, as well as seeing the vehicle leave at a high rate of speed on Melinda Drive. Oh, this is the one that they're talking about where it's like, and then it, the one area, I think I mentioned this yesterday too, that I kind of slacked on really going down the rabbit hole into was the like these specific video clips from like right within the house. Like I kind of looked into what they were saying the where Kohberger's phone was, like in terms of like which routes he would be taking to drive out. But besides that, like in terms of like where they're saying his car actually was, in terms of like where they dropped him off and blah blah blah. I didn't look into that stuff, but I know a lot of other people did. So this is obviously important to that. In the clips, okay, blah blah blah. After capturing the clips, I disconnected the camera and Wi-Fi router, and placed them into evidence. The videos were placed onto a DVD and placed into evidence. Okay, well, I don't know. Hopefully, other people understand like what this all means, but I feel like I need someone else to like confirm that this is an appropriate way to actually access and download original files of these types. So, all right. Let's see here. That is it for 28. Wait, shit. See, this is the same thing that happened before where it's like, I don't know if it's going to save it. Yeah, save with my changes. Biatch. Okay, maybe I'll just do that later. All right, on to file 29. So this is by A. Dallinger on 11/21/22 at 10:43:52, and it is a narrative of the surveillance video downloads. Okay. Narrative on November 19th at November 19th, 2022 at approximately 1200 hours, I met with Detective Maury, who tasked me with downloading surveillance video footage from several USB memory drives. Really? That's so kind of the same shit that we were just talking about in the last one. I wish I really knew more about this though. Why? Okay. Okay. Can I hide this? Okay. On November 19th, 2022 at approximately 1200 hours, I met with Detective Maury, who is shady, who tasked me with downloading surveillance video footage from several memory drives. Detective Maury gave me multiple small manila envelopes, which contain USB memory drives collected from multiple different investigators. Really? This is no. No, no, no. I'm gonna be like, hell no. Shady. Detective Murray asked me to download the videos from all of the drives and to place them onto an external hard drive, which he provided to me. Okay, this is weird. So what he's saying, so this guy, Dallinger, he says Maury came up to him and he was like, hey, here's like a bunch of random just like USB drives that I collected from not just me, actually, like a bunch of random investigators from like all over the place, collected all of these, like apparently didn't really record like how they accessed the data, like what made them be able to show that it was like original uncorrupted files, and then gave all these USBs from all these different investigators to Maury, and then Maury was like, "Hey, dude, Dellinger, can you take all this random shit and then put it onto this hard drive that I'm giving you?" So all of this is super shady. Like, even if it's not shady, it's dumb and it's super messy. And like, if you know how to do any type of research or type of like work where you need to show your work so other people can come and do the exact same thing, follow like and get the exact same results, like reliability and validity, like yeah, like this wouldn't count for that, you know. Once that task was complete, Detective Murray asked me to copy all of the videos from the portable hard drive to the M drive in our City of Moscow network, where he created a folder where working copies of the videos could be stored. What the fuck? Okay, I'm sorry, but no. So he's saying then Now that so city, this is like the City of Moscow network. So that makes me think, okay, so when I used to work at the University of Minnesota, and I'm sure everyone else that works at like these big companies or whatever, you have the big drive that's like, a part of the whole network of computers. So like the whole U of M database or whatever. And then like I worked for the um Center of Human Sexuality, or yeah, Center for Sexual Health and the Program in Human Sexuality. And that had its own little drive. So like the Moscow, or no, so the City of Moscow network probably has a subfolder that has a like PD, like Moscow Police Department, like subfile or like drive or whatever. And then you can also like create security in each of the drives. So like if I was on the U of M network or if someone else was on the U of M network and they wanted to get into some of like my confidential files that I had at the Center for Sexual Health, like they wouldn't be able to get in because I had password protected or created security around that. Anyways, it sounds like this, I can't be sure, but it sounds like he's like, yo, like take all this information from all these random people who I didn't document how they got it or who even got it, and then put it all into this hard drive. And then he put it onto a citywide network so anyone could go in and fuck with all these videos. And he actually had the nerve to call it working copies of the videos. Like why are there working copies of these videos? Like shouldn't they just be the video files? Like period. Like that's strange, right? Maybe I'm making too big of a deal out of it, but I don't think so. And if I'm not, like, they should definitely like have a better system of going about that. After downloading the videos from the individual USB memory drives, I placed them back into the manila envelopes they came from and sealed them with evidence tape. I did find two of the USB memory drives, which came from the same envelope, did not contain any video footage, and I returned them to Detective Maury. Once all the videos were downloaded to the portable hard drive, I then copied them all to the M drive on the city network and returned the hard drive to Detective Maury. So that, yeah, that makes sense to everything I was just saying. So cool. And Captain Barrett reviewed this, and this was on November 22nd. Okay, cool. And all right. On to number 30. Let me just take a little quick sippy sip again. Making good time. We've been through 5 and we've been, fuck, not, I guess it's like taking me 10 minutes fucking for, Jesus Christ, that means that it's going to be like, there's like 250 documents right now. And if on average I'm taking like 10 minutes per doc, like let's do the, let me ask ChatGPT real quick. Um, Hey ChatGPT, so if I'm averaging 10 minutes per document and then 10 minutes per document and there's 250 documents, how many minutes would it take me to finish going through all 250 documents?
Documents. That's basically 10 times 250, which would be 2,500 minutes in total. So quite a bit of time.
So 2,500 minutes divided by 16 would be how many hours? Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. So if you divide 2,500 by 60, you get about 41.67 hours. So
Whoa. All right, thank you. I don't know if you guys heard that or not because I'm not sure like what you hear, but that's 41 hours. So this could be like a full work week. So okay, why not? I've been looking for things to go live and that I feel confident about, and these are perfect because I don't really need to prepare for them too much because it's like I'm seeing them right away. Anyways, hold the show. I need to. Okay, cool. 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 Sure. Back to this. All right, so we've got document 30, John Rosinski. 11/21/22 narrative. Officer Rosinski phone interview with PC. So this is the same person that sounds like lived at that house with the camera that he got that footage from, where they had someone walking out by the dumpsters and then a car like taking off really fast, I think. So on 11/15/22 at about 13:48 hours, I spoke with PC on the phone. He said she was good friends with Kaylee Gonzalez, but was also friends with Xander Carnotto and Ethan Chapin. He said she was a member of the sorority blank. He is currently a junior at the University of Idaho UI. He said she was not aware of anyone that Kaylee associated with that had violent tendencies. He said she was not aware if Kaylee being involved in drugs in any way. He said she knew people partied with drugs, but doesn't know of Kaylee or any of her other roommates being involved in drugs. He said she did not know if drugs were being sold from the residence. He said she was at a party earlier in the day at a friend's apartment at the Whites. So this is the same. So this is another person that apparently was with who said that they were at the Whites. Was that Jack Showalter or was that someone else that I didn't know the initials at the time? I'll have to look back at that. He said at the apartment she saw Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan. He said that they were all just hanging out and there were other people there as well. He said there was nobody of concern at the apartment and everybody present was a familiar person. He said she last saw Kaylee at the grub truck. Oh, really? He said, oh, so this must be one of the two people that was hanging out with Kaylee, like at the corner club before all of this happened. He said she arrived after Kaylee and said Kaylee was there with Madison Mogan. Wait, he said she arrived after Kaylee. Okay, he said Kaylee's demeanor was good and they struck up a conversation. He said Kaylee seemed really happy and said Kaylee and Madison were laughing. He said she did not have a conversation with Madison and only Kaylee. He said that they did not mention what their plans were after the grub truck. He said Kaylee and Madison seemed a little intoxicated, but believed they came from the club. He said Kaylee seemed coherent, but was not stumbling or slurring her words. He did not know if Kaylee and Madison showed up to the grub truck with anyone. He said she later watched the Twitch video and it appeared someone showed up with Kaylee and Madison, but she did not recognize the individual. That's Jack Showalter, right? So these people that know these people well don't know Jack Showalter. I thought he was like in the fraternity and shit. Well, how does Jack Showalter know all these people? Okay, okay, wait, hold up. He said that her friends did not either recognize Showalter. He said after Kaylee got her food, she saw Kaylee and Madison walk in the direction of campus. He did not see anyone follow them. He mentioned that she saw in the grub truck video someone walking in the same direction. He said she heard that there was someone concerning at the corner club. He said she heard the individuals being creepy towards Madison. Who dis? Who dis? Did we see that on the video at all? Um, no, my bad. Okay. Okay. Yum yum. Okay. Damn it. What you doing, you guys? Sorry, thank you for your patience again. Damn it, where did it go, motherfucker? Here we go. Okay. My bad, my bad, my bad. Come on, bitch. All right. Thank you for your patience. All right. Damn it. What the fuck? Okay. Okay, so P said she heard there was someone concerning at the corner club, and P said she heard the individuals being creepy towards Madison and was kicked out. P was not aware of any other males that Kaylee spent time with. P said she knew that Kaylee had an ex-boyfriend that went to UI, Jack D, but she understood they were on good terms. P said she knew Madison had a boyfriend that graduated from UI. P did not know his name. P did not know of anyone that Ethan and Xana hung out with. It. P said she wished she had more to share. I thanked P for her time and concluded the interview. So, a question that I have about this is like, why? So, but wait, so maybe this isn't one of the people that hung out with Kaylee and Madison all day and then went to the corner club with them, because it sounds like she ended up meeting up with these people at the grub truck, not at the corner club. Because I would think the two people that were with, them with Madison and Kaylee at the corner club would have obviously been seeing them like with Jack Showalter, with talking to their like Jack D and other people. I don't think we've talked about that video yet, but all right, done with that. On to Doc 31. All right. This is from Danny Vargas, 11/21/22. This is the narrative. Transferring electronic devices to Post Falls PD and Coeur d'Alene PD. On November 16, 2022, I transported, what is this? I transported the 4 cell phones belonging to Goncalves, Mogan, Coronado, and Chapin to Coeur d'Alene PD and gave them to Detective Dustin Taylor at approximately 0700 hours. On November 17, 2022, at approximately 12:49 hours, I picked up the cell phones from Detective Taylor at CDA PD, Coeur d'Alene Police Department, and brought them back to Moscow to Police Department and gave them back to Detective Maury. Okay. On November 21st, 2022, I transferred the phones belonging to Chapin, Mogan, Kernodle to CDAPD and dropped them off with Detective Jesse Welch at approximately 1100 hours. Okay, what? So why are these going to all these different places? On November 21st, 2022, I transported 2 separate charging cords belonging to electronic devices 22M-2070 and 22M-2071 to Post Falls PD and dropped them off with Detective Brad Johnson at approximately 10:30 hours. I told Detective Johnston the cords were for the devices with Detective Neil Uhrig received from Detective Mari. Wow, dude, this is like such a fucking chain of really, like, did it really have to go through fucking 15 people to do all of this? Like, why? Like, this is just not good, like, detective work and like data collection and data, I don't know, what is it, filing or something? Anyway, so that is Lawrence, and it was Vargas, and then Lawrence reviewed it. All right, number 32. Okay, well, all right. Okay, this is again Danny Vargas, 11/21/22 at 14:36. Narrative: Spokane County Medical Examiner, autopsies. Oh shit, here we go. Okay, on November 16th, 2022, at approximately 07:45 hours, Latah County Coroner Kathy Mybut, that's weird, right? Have to be immature like judge, but ooh, I like this better. Okay, let's see. My butt. Okay. And I attended the 4 autopsies for Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapman, Madison Logan, and Kaylee Gonzalez at the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office, which is interesting because Spokane County is not Idaho, it's Washington. So I don't know if they like share resources like that, but blah 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 in Spokane, Washington. The 4 autopsies were all performed by Dr. V.S. Gary Tolleson, a detective with ISP, Idaho State Patrol, observed 3 of the autopsies, Kernodle, Mogan, and Goncalves, as he arrived after the autopsy for Chapman was performed. Okay, wait, what? So it sounds like Danny Vargas was there for all 4, and this other guy, Gary, was there for 3, because he missed Ethan's. Okay, so during the autopsies, the following items of evidence were collected. This is from Kaylee. DNA card, hand swabs, wrist swabs, forearm swabs, foot swabs. This is like where on that first page where it listed all those things that were like swabs from everywhere. I was like, who's all these swabs? But I guess it's from their autopsies. That makes sense. Sad. Okay. Forearm swabs, foot swabs, ankle swabs, anal swabs, oral swabs, vaginal swabs, head hair, nail clippings, neck swab, handbag, t-shirt, corner club, nasty and inebriated, black pants, Joe boxer gray and black flannel, silver earring, sock, 1 white Adidas, SD photo card, autopsy photos. All of the above listed items were released to me by KS on 11/16/2022 at approximately 19:27 hours. And then it goes on to Maddie Mogan, and it says the same again. So it says DNA, card, hand swabs, wrist swabs, forearm, foot, ankle, anal, oral, vaginal swabs, head hair, nail clippings, neck swab, handbags, short sleeve shirt, pink, pants, black, Vandal, Russell Brand, sweatpants, medium, I think, silver rings, hair tie black, false eyelashes, SD, photo card of the autopsy. Photos of the above listed items were released to me by KS on 11/16/22 at approximately 19:38 hours. And then for Xana, DNA card and hand, wrist, forearm, foot, ankle, thigh, anal, oral, vaginal swabs, head hair, pubic hair, nail clippings, neck swab, handbags, foot bag, sweatshirt, Under Army gray, underwear, Calvin Klein beige, small, trace evidence left hand, trace evidence from body bag, SD photo card, autopsy photos. Of the above listed items released to me by KS on 11/16 at approximately 19:49 hours. And then Ethan. DNA card, hand swabs, wrist, forearm, ankle, anal, oral, penile swabs, head hair, pubic hair, nail clippings, neck swab, handbags, trace evidence from the right hand necklace, bracelet, stocks to Puma brand, SD photo card. All of the above listed items were released to me by KS on 11/16 at approximately 19:41 hours. Major crime prints. As part of the autopsies, major crime prints were taken from each of the victims by the Spokane County forensic units. Chapman's prints were taken on 11/16/22 and released to me by TB on 11/16/22. Colonel's prints were taken on 11/16 and released to me by E on 11/16/22. Mogan and Goncalves prints were both taken on 11/17 in the morning by CL and LE and were left at the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office with L. On 11/17/22, I responded to the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office and collected Mogan and Goncalves prints from A. Major crime prints taken by the following. Ethan Chapman feet, prints taken at 11/16. And then it says TB forensic specialist, LJ Spokane County forensic unit supervisor. And it says Xana Kernodle hands and feet, prints taken on 11/16. LE forensic technician, SM forensic technician. Madison Mogan, hands and feet, prints taken on 11/17. CL forensic technician, LE forensic technician. Kaylee Goncalves, hands and feet, prints taken on 11/17. CL forensic technician, LE forensic technician. At the conclusion of the 4 autopsies, Dr. V.S. met with Kathy Mabut, Gary Tolleson, and myself and told us the following. Ethan Chapman's fatal injury was from a stab wound under his left clavicle, which severed his subclavian vein and subclavian artery, and also his jugular vein was severed. So, hold up. I'm going to Google where this clavicle is. Bear with me, please. Where is the clavicle? And subclavian vein and artery. All right, cool. Let me share this real quick. Oh, fuck. Here we go. Here they are, just in case anyone else didn't know, and they're stupid like me. The subclavian arteries are located just beneath the collarbones. That's what I thought the clavicles were. In the thorax. And the thorax is the front line. There are two subclavian arteries. The left subclavian artery arises from the aortic arch, and the right subclavian artery from the brachiocephalic trunk. These arteries supply oxygen blood to the upper body, including the head, neck, and arms, and branch into different arteries that supply different regions. There we go. Here we go. Okay, cool. This is cool. So here we go. This is a subclavian artery. Okay, so here's the shoulder bone. Oh, gotcha. Wow. Well, that sounds like it's someone knew where to cut. You know what I mean? Like that seems pretty like an artery obviously is like a pretty big deal, but like this is like an artery that looks like it actually connects to the like basically is the connection from the brain to the rest of the body, right? I don't know, maybe that's not right, but I definitely know where arteries oh wait, this is a better one. Yeah, shit. Okay, clavicle is here, so that's the shoulder bone. So subclavian vein. Okay, so there's a vein below and then an artery above. And here's the jugular, external and internal jugular veins. What's this little guy that goes around the ear? Doesn't say. I guess it branches out from the subclavian vein, so that would so it connects straight to the brain. So basically, someone came in here and was like, so he okay, so his okay, his left clavicle, he has a stab wound under his left clavicle, which severed his subclavian vein and artery. Gotcha. So this person got right underneath his clavicle and hit the artery and the vein right underneath it that connects to the brain and then the rest of the body, like probably through the spine. And it says also his jugular vein was severed, and here is the jugular vein. So it looks like so, and I think that that was when his neck was slit or his throat was sliced or cut. How do they say it? Throat was sliced. I feel like I'm just saying that weird. Anyways, so yeah, he obviously like had a someone went like and then like underneath here, and I was like, so and that makes sense why there was literally blood dripping from the outside wall of the house. If anyone remembers that, they were like being like, no, that's just oil. It's like, fuck no, that's blood. That's crazy. That place sounded like it was must have been so soaked with blood. That's crazy. Okay. Oh, fuck you guys. I didn't share that one. Well, whatever. Damn it, I'm dumb. Here's what I was talking about when I thought that I was showing you this. So, my bad. Inusals. We can close that show. Oh, fuck. Hold up. Back to, what were we on? 32. Love that. sure. Okay, so where's my little? All right, so Ethan only had sharp force injuries. Okay, so that's interesting too. Only had sharp force injuries. Santa Cruz's fatal injuries were from one laceration in her right lung and two lacerations in her heart. Okay, so laceration is like a tear, which is different from a slice. And it sounds like Ethan had sharp force injury. To me, that suggests that Ethan only had slices, like cuts, and that Xana had more lacerations, like maybe something that was like a little bit more jagged. I don't know. Let me know if you guys think that that makes sense. So she had one laceration in her right lung and two lacerations in her heart. Yikes. So they were just like, you know, Fernando had, oh my God. Dude, you guys, Fernando had 50 plus stab wounds, mostly defensive. That's so fucked up, dude. Like, what the hell? Who did this? Like, I mean, again, like, I don't want to say that. Oh, hey, Dragon Sassin, happy Thursday, Thursday, Thirsty Thursday, which reminds me I should take another sip, shippy ship. I'll put that up. Hold up. Welcome to the live. I appreciate that you're here. Um, we're getting to like the worst part right now that I think I've read out of all these documents. So this is like the documents from the unsealed ones. And they like I remember even like a couple days ago when they were like updating the news stations like the Goncalves were saying that they were given like, you know, secret information or information that wasn't released to the public, and they weren't given details about other people, but like they were told that Kaylee was stabbed over like 30 or 34 times, and that there was one person that was stabbed more than her, and they didn't know who that was, but it obviously here is it's Xana, and 50 stab wounds, 50 plus stab wounds, mostly defensive. Xana only had sharp force injuries. So I feel like well, what? Oh, okay. So never mind. What I was saying before with the sharp force injuries doesn't make sense because apparently she also only had sharp force injuries. But it's interesting that they said her fatal injuries were from two stab. It sounds like three stabs, like one to the lung, two to the heart. So that's three, but she had 50 plus. So we're talking like at least 47 different stab wounds that actually weren't fatal, and they were just kind of like doing stabbing. Like, who the fuck does that, you know? Weird. Madison Morgan's fatal injuries included a left lung laceration and a liver laceration. Yikes. And Madison only had sharp force injuries. This sounds like kill shots. You know, I feel like the person that went in there definitely had training, like combat training, I think, especially with knives. Um, Haley Goncalves' fatal injuries included a left lung laceration, a liver laceration, two subdural bleeds. What's that? Is that like underneath the subdural? Is that under the skin? What is subdural bleeds? Subdural hematoma, also known as a subdural bleed, is a type of bleeding that occurs between the skull and the brain. Gotcha. Oh wow. Oh, well, gotcha. It typically happens. I'm gonna share this tab instead. It typically happens. Hold up. Hold on. Oh, it pains. Okay. It typically happens after a head injury and can be life-threatening due to the pressure it creates in the brain. Okay, so I actually dated this guy who we were like really good friends, but then he had a brain injury, and it was like he got super wasted and he was like leaving this bar and he was like riding his bike and he like ran into the curb and then he just like flipped over. He wasn't wearing a helmet, and apparently his head just like smacked like right on the curb, you know. and he doesn't remember anything, but like he had to go to like our trauma hospital, Hennepin County Medical Center in downtown Minneapolis, and he had to get like 50 staples, and he had internal bleeding in the brain, so it makes your like brain puff out. And so like because your skull is trying to keep it all in, but the brain's thinking it like because of its trauma is becoming inflamed, like if anything else, like if you stub your toe, your toe gets, puffy, but like since your skull's like within, or your brain's within the skull, it becomes a problem. And that's how a lot of times people can have like strokes, or not strokes, but like it's just brain damage, like because the brain doesn't have enough room. It just gets smushed and ruined like against the skull when it's like so what they do is when people have subdural bleeds, like my ex did, is they decided to like remove a part of his skull in order to allow the brain swelling to do its own thing. And so that's when he had to get like 50 staples like in his head. So anyways, I guess I know a little bit about subdural hematomas. But so to me, that obviously says, and like if you've heard what the Goncalves have been talking about specifically the oh, thank you, Dragon Sasson. Yeah, I mean, it's a long time ago, and I don't know. He was always like kind of weird beforehand too, so it was like interesting after his like brain injury to be like, is he like more annoying now or not as annoying? Because we were like best friends up until then, but then I feel like we trauma bonded after that because I was like, oh my God, what it would have been like without Jonathan. I can't have Jonathan not in my life. So I was like, maybe we should date. And then, anyways, we had a couple of fun years. We went to India together and got our tussle. But, anyways, it ended up not being forever, which is fine. And then, and he's still alive, and I don't know whether or not he still has brain problems or if he's just the same. Anyways, so I sound like I have a brain injury right now. So, anyways, that suggests to me with Kaylee, and if you've heard what her family has been saying, that they got this information that, and in the stuff that we read yesterday in the documents, it sounds like by far Kaylee had the most like brutal injuries, and it was like to the point where her entire face was disformed where you couldn't even there was no structure to her face. So it sounds like literally like I don't know what they did to her head. Like I mentioned yesterday, maybe it was a like maybe someone smacked her with like a huge frying pan or something. I honestly don't know unless it was like to me that would be like someone just like hitting someone in the face with a pipe like a bunch of times or something because they like literally say that she's unrecognizable and she had no structure to her face. And here it sounds like they're saying these two subdermal bleeds suggest that she had brain injuries. So she got knocked so hard that she had traumatic brain injuries like multiple times, and there was like lots of bleeding in her brain. So that's sad, super sad. Um, let's see. Let's see else here. Um, all right, a stab behind her clavicle, which cut her subclavian vein and artery. So she had the same as Ethan, except all that extra stuff too. And she had signs of sharp force injuries, asphyxial injuries. So someone also choked her. Like that's what that means. So someone was bashing her face, choking her out, giving her brain injuries, stabbing her all over her body. What the hell? That's fucking weird, dude. And blunt force injuries. So there is a difference between sharp force injuries and blunt force. Oh, so that would be the blunt force injuries would be like the frying pan, like I just talked about. Kaylee had 20 plus stab wounds, but like how many blunt force traumas did she have? Because that's separate. Dr. S said the weapon used was not serrated, single edged, very sharp, and said a lot of force was used by the suspect. How would she know that? Not serrated, really? Well, but isn't the K-bar serrated? Maybe not. I will be uploading Dr. S. final autopsy reports to the case file when they are completed. I'm going to write down to just double check that serrated isn't K-bar or is. I'll fix the bottom of that. All right, on November 16, 2022, at approximately 1955 hours, I drove from Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office to the FBI office located at blah, 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 Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and met with Special Agent Bryan Gunderson. Several of the clothing items collected during the autopsies were still wet and needed to dry in evident dryers overnight. What is this? The 16th? They were still wet from what? From the autopsy? But why would they be wet from the autopsy? Um, Oh, cool. Some K bars are serrated, but the original is not. Gotcha. Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I'd like to. I don't know. I would never actually want to see the pictures, but I just feel like I don't know. I guess it would be helpful to actually talk to someone and be able to be like, so what are you saying? Like it's not serrated. Like what do you mean with like blunt force traumas? Like what do these wounds? How do they look different from the other ones that you're talking about? And how do you know that it's not serrated? Blah, 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 blah. Several of, yeah, I already said that. S.A. Gunderson and I placed the following items in two separate dryers, dryer one and dryer two, in their evidence room, and I released the items to S.A. Gunderson. S.A. Gunderson signed for the items on 11/16 at approximately 21:02 hours. The items belonging to Goncalves and Mogan were placed in dryer one, and the items belonging to Kernodle and Chapin were placed in dryer two. Dryer one, Keely Goncalves handbags, T-shirt, Corner Club, Nasty and Inebriated black, pants to a boxer gray and black flannel, sock one, white Adidas, and then Madison Mogan, handbags, short sleeve shirt, pink, pants, black bandle, Russell brand sweatpants, medium. And then dryer two is Xana Carnolos, handbags, footbag, sweatshirt, Under Armour gray, underwear, Calvin Klein beige, small, and then Ethan's handbags and socks, two Puma brand. I transported the remainder of the evidence items back to MPD, so Moscow Police Department, and placed them into the evidence fridge in the MPD evidence room. Okay. On November 17th, 2022 in the morning, I drove to the FBI office located at blah, 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 Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Why can't they tell us where it is? Like, really? Like, we don't know where the FBI office is there? Like, aren't all FBI offices kind of like public, known places? um, and met with Special Agent Bryan Gunderson. I removed the dried items from dryer one and dryer two and packaged them back into their original bags. Along with the items I turned over to S.A. Gunderson on 11/16/22, I collected two additional items from S.A. Gunderson. One bag, which contained the drop sheet, filter, and security bag from dryer one, and one bag, which contained the drop sheet, filter, and security bag from dryer two. S.A. Gunderson released these items back to me on 11/17 and approximately 11:28 hours. I transferred these items back to MPD. On November 17, 2022, I worked with TS, MPD evidence technician, and booked in all of the items collected from the autopsies into MPD evidence. All right, and that is Detective Vargas. This was written on November 30th and reviewed by Blaker on December 30th. See, this is what I mean. Like, they are not good at record keeping. Like, so this all happened, what, like on the 16th, he's saying, but they didn't write to the 30th. So it's like, really, do you really remember what exactly that you did with all of that? Like, I definitely would not remember 2 weeks later what the fuck I did, Not gonna record keeping. It seems to be a reoccurring problem with these guys. Ish, yeah. Okay. Oh, fuck, dude. Oh my God, you guys. I'm so dumb, dude. My bad. Well, anyways, you can hear me reading it all, but I'm sorry that you won't be able to see that. But here's the document that I am. Damn it. Alrighty, so on to sequence or document 33. Hold on, let me take another sip. Yep. And actually, I'm gonna take a little vape, a weed vape. I'm gonna take myself off camera real quick. Okay. So 11/21/22 at around 14:30 hours, I met with U of I Deputy Director of Public Safety and Security. Okay, well, who dat? Who dat? What color should we do this one? We'll do blue. Okay. No, bitch, I said blue. Okay. Go away. Thank you. Thank you. All right. This should go away. Come on, bitches. All right. Sorry. I like swear a lot while I'm talking to myself. Okay. I met with U of I Deputy Director of Public Safety and Security. What is this? BL. Regarding saved security camera footage on campus. Gotcha. We provided L an external hard drive to recover the footage, and he completed the transfer of information. Okay, so this is like another information, or this is like another time where they're saying like they just showed up to like random different investigators showed up to these different places, and they were like, "Hey, can we get that video? Like, will you just like copy it on here for us, like, and do it for us? And like, we won't really watch you, like, but then give it to us, and then we'll like give it to like 5 other people in this chain of custody." It's like, dude, what the hell is wrong with people? We provided L an external hard drive to recover the footage, and he completed the transfer of information. After receiving the hard drive, I immediately turned it over to FBI agent Dave Bodley, first time I've heard of that guy, and his team could review. So his team could review the data. So this is from where? Save security camera footage on campus. Well, that's pretty broad. What fucking footage is he talking about? Like every single footage on campus? That's like, can you be a little more specific? So that was reviewed by Dallinger on November 22nd, and it was filed by Captain Tyson Barrett on November 22nd. Okay. On to the document 34. Okay, we'll do orange this time. Okay, this is John Rosinski, date 11/22/22, 10:05. Rosinski booking of 2 cigarette butts on Detective Adams' behalf. Okay, so Detective Adams was like, "Yo, Rosinski, go get me 2 cigarette butts." Again, I like, why can't these guys do that themselves? But whatever. Item 252 cigarette butt, item 253 cigarette butt. On 11/21/22, I was asked by Detective Adams of the Idaho State Police to book 2 cigarette butts and evidence that he collected. Detective Adams, okay, that he collected? Okay. Who is he with? You know, I mean, like, how can we just believe these people to be like, oh yeah, I just like randomly found these like cigarette butts? Like, I swear to God, I didn't take it from someone that I'm trying to like create as a patsy, you know? Detective Adams brought the 2 cigarette butts to the Moscow Police Department evidence room where I watched him place them both into 2 separate ISP envelopes. The sealed envelopes with evidence tape and signed the tape for both. The chain of custody was filled out on both envelopes. Really? Well, what did it say? I booked the 2 envelopes into MPD evidence and requested they be sent to the state lab. I took photographs of the cigarette butts and attached them to this case file. And cool. And then that was reviewed by Detective Hathaway on November 23rd. Great, love that. Okay, here we go. Number 35. See here. I'm going to do a different color again. Let's do green. Alrighty. This is number 35, Justin Dean, and it was filed on 11/22/22 at 12:23. And the narrative is a drug tip follow-up. Interesting. This will be interesting. On November 21st, 2022, at approximately 11:57 hours, I was asked by Captain Tyson Barrett to follow up on a possible lead in the 1122 King Road homicide case. I was told a Mexican drug dealer with the moniker C was I want to know his moniker, possibly selling drugs to several fraternities and sororities on the University of Idaho campus. I told Captain Barrett I would contact several of my contacts to see if anyone knew of C. At approximately 12:04 hours, I began contacting my fellow Quad Cities Drug Task Force detectives Brett, Damon, Colby Martin, and Bryson Oss. None of the detectives had heard of C selling cocaine in the Quad Cities. At approximately 12:11 hours, I reached out to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives ATF Special Agent TJ Wehera out of Spokane, Washington office. Reference C.A. Wehera hadn't heard of C, but said he would reach out to other agencies in the area about him. I also spoke to C.H. at approximately 13:13 hours and J.P. at approximately 17:25 hours. H and P said they'd never heard of C selling cocaine in the area. B said he would contact me if he heard anything. I also spoke with Brandon DeMeyer with Benton County Sheriff's Office in Washington at approximately 16:25 hours. Deputy DeMeyer hadn't heard of C, but said he would contact his local detectives about the name and let me know if he found out anything. I will be waiting to see if any information can be found out about C. This was filed on November 22nd, 22, and reviewed by Captain Barrett on December 1st. So like 2 weeks later. All right. Now we are on to number 36. We're just like chugging right along. Love that. All right. So this is a narrative by Tyson Barrett, 11/22/22 at 17:38. OCRI documents. On 11/22/22 at 11:20 hours, I met with L.E. at the U of I Office of Civil Rights and Investigations. I provided E with a new USB storage device to which he saved documents pertinent to the investigation. What the hell? Really? Okay. Interesting. On 11/22/22 at about 11:30 hours, I met with FBI agent Alex Skelton at the police department. I gave Agent Skelton the USB storage device containing the documents E provided. That's it. And Captain Barrett filed that on November 22nd and was reviewed by Dellinger on November 23rd. All right. Can we do different? Okay. John Rosinski, 11/23/22 at 16:42, and it is OCRI files pickup. What the fuck is OCRI? Well, hold up. OCRI. With the new USB storage device to which you save the documents. Yeah. OCRI. Yeah, I'm dumb and I don't want to take the time to go back through all of these to find what OCRI is, but I'll figure it out. I will also just write that down real quick. What's it called? OCRI. What is? Okay. Narrative on 11/23/22. Agent Alex Skelton with the Federal Bureau of Investigations requested files to be picked up from the Office of Civil Rights and Investigation. Aha! The Office of Civil Rights and Investigation, OCRI. And cross that off my list. Agent Skelton provided me with 2 thumb drives. I thought it was going to be like 2 thumbs up. But with 2 thumb drives, HP and SanDisk, I transported the thumb drives to OCRI, where I met with L.E., Deputy Director of OCRI. E downloaded files onto the SanDisk thumb drive. Once complete, E gave me the SanDisk thumb drive, and I transported both thumb drives back to the Muscle Police Department. I returned both thumb drives to Agent Skelton. Okay. That was Rosinski filed it November 23rd and reviewed by Hathaway on November 23rd. This whole thing is like, honestly, I'm just going to say the whole chain of command is just, there's like much to be desired. Chain of command sucks. Yes. All around. in this case. Okay, there we go. 38. Alrighty. A Dallinger, and it is filed on 11/28/22, 12/10. This is a narrative of transport of evidence to State Lab in Meridian. I don't know where Meridian is. So let's see. On November 18th, 2022, I met with Moscow Police Department's property coordinator, TS. S released the following items of evidence to me. These guys. It's like 22M, and then it's like 2097, 2100, 2060, 2101, 2104. I then transferred those items to Meridian, Idaho, where I turned them over to the Idaho State Police Forensic Services. Okay. Why? I wonder what these are. What are they? This is filed November 28th and reviewed by Lanier on November 28th, too, and written by, like I said, Dollinger. Okay. Lawrence Mari is 11/28/22, 1309. It says eBay sales warrant on November 26, 2022. I requested and was granted a warrant for eBay for the sale of the following items between January 1st, 2022 to the present. K-Bar full-size Marine Corps fighting knife. K-Bar 12/17 leather sheath USMC logo. On November 26th, 2022, at approximately 1907 hours, I logged into the eBay law enforcement e-request system located. That's interesting that they all seem to have these like their own security or like law enforcement kind of sections or departments that like work with getting like law enforcement all this evidence, which is like kind of honestly a little bit weird. I'm like, should they really be working so smoothly with them? I don't know. But I'm also ACAB, so all right. I logged in the eBay law enforcement e-request system located at this email address. I received an email from blank at ebay.com providing me with an internal case number of blah blah blah. On November 28th at approximately 2022 at approximately 11:05 hours, I received an email from eBay stating that the files were ready to download. I logged into the portal and downloaded the files. In examining the files, eBay showed no purchase for the K-Bar full-size Marine Corps fighting knife. However, in examining the files, eBay showed several user IDs associated with the sale of the Asin, some blah blah blah. What? Okay. Oh, gotcha. The leather sheath. So nothing for the actual fighting knife, but then several for the sheath. So that's interesting. And it looks like Arizona, Idaho, Pennsylvania, Washington, Ohio, Wisconsin, New York, Texas, Ohio, Washington, and Arizona. That's interesting. No subscriber information, IP addresses, payment information, or customer records were provided. Okay. As these user IDs are associated with a knife sheath purchase before or after November 13th, 2022, I am requesting the assistance of the Latah County Prosecutor's Office to apply for a warrant for the following. Account information for the above named eBay users, subscriber information to include all the shit for the people that bought those sheaths. And it says order details and purchase history for all transactions conducted by the above named eBay user IDs and any eBay affiliated storefront web store, including IP addresses, address information for purchases made, shipping addresses, and issuing bank card, payment information for payments made or facilitated by eBay with those usernames, all customer interaction records between eBay and the above name, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I completed the warrant return receipt and affidavit. These documents were sent to the Latah County Prosecutor's Office to be returned to the court. I emailed a copy of the receipt to eBay at eBay, and this was the originating email address associated with the documents. Okay, Lowry filed that on November 28th at 13:09, and Sergeant Lawrence reviewed it and okayed it on November 29th. All right, document number 40. We're like only 10 away from being done with the first chunk. I'm so proud of us. Okay, fuck. I wish there was like different. Okay, this is Lawrence again. Detective Lawrence Maury, 11/28/22 at 13:38. It is router interrogation. Router. Okay, and this is dated 11/15. Okay, so this is filled out what, 2 weeks later? Gotcha. On November 13th, 2022, I responded to 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho, in an attempt to interrogate the wireless router. What does that mean? Interrogate the wireless router. Okay. Attempt to interrogate the wireless router. I'm gonna just take a little note and be like, figure out if that's an actual thing. If you can actually interrogate a router. Alrighty, it says after speaking with Captain Brett Payne, fucking Brett Payne, he informed me the wireless router and cable modem were located in the living room on the second floor. Okay. After arrival, I used an Ethernet cable to connect my laptop to the local area network LAN ports on the back of the Spectrum Wi-Fi 6 router with the serial number, blah, blah, blah. The router then provided my laptop with an IP address and gateway IP, which resolved to the router. So he basically just got into the system with his, like, just by hooking directly up. I attempted to locate a web-based management portal for the device, but was prompted to download. Fuck you, dude. Like, really? This is like, he keeps saying, this is the other one that we're gonna have to look up. Like, remember, he was like, no, use this app, and then I use that app. And it's like, can we make sure that these apps are like legit? So if anyone knows anything about these, let me know. I attempted to locate a web-based management portal for the device, but was prompted to download the Spectrum app and use the account username and password to access the device. I contacted Spectrum technical support and found this was the only way for the client to access the data on the device. Whatever. I then called the Charter Law Enforcement Response Team, LERT, and spoke with a representative and tried to ascertain if Charter Spectrum could retrieve data from the router via their diagnostic portal. After several days and phone calls to Charter, I can totally empathize with this shit. Like, oh my God, I hate talking to cable companies. And they're always like, man, you sure? But actually, right now, I shouldn't even tell you what I have for internet, but I'm very happy. It's like the happiest I've been within the internet I've had before. But fucking hate CenturyLink. I'll say that. Oh shit. Okay, it's 9 o'clock and I have plans with people, so I should probably get off. Okay, I'll finish reading this document and then I'll call it a day. Okay, so blah 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 blah. So they were asking the internet company if they could get into the system with their diagnostic system, like when they take over, and then they can figure out like what your router and modem is doing or whatever. And then they tried to get to them a couple times throughout a couple days. And I spoke with TD, the manager of the Legal Response Operations Center. He stated her team was working on verifying if the router hardware was able to be accessed. Well, that seems weird. Like, why is it taking them so long to do that? On November 17th, 2022, I again called Charter and left a voicemail. Dee returned my phone call and stated her technicians were able to access and download the data from the router. However, they did not preserve the correct, oh my God, they did not preserve the correct time frame specified in my request. Okay, like really? They seem to have a lot of issues with technical shit on here. I was told she would have her technicians retry and preserve the data. On November 17th, 2022, I again called Charter and left a voicemail for D. I received a call back from D who stated the technicians were able to retrieve data for the time periods of September 14th, 2022 to November 7th, 2022, and November 11th, 2022 to November 14th, 2022. Okay, that's interesting. So they want to know what was going on from September 14th to November 7th, and then from November 11th to November 14th. Why? I was informed there was a problem with their cloud services, and that resulted in the data loss for November 8th through 10th. No. That's fucking weird. What? Hell no. This is all shady, dude. No wonder they didn't want to, like, no wonder they wanted all this sealed. I informed D I would be applying for a warrant requesting that data with the legal process. What, this? the 8 through 10. From my training experience, I know wireless routers, Wi-Fi routers, allow wireless devices, phones, tablets, laptops, etc., to connect to them for access to the internet or other devices on the local area network. Hold on. During this process, after a device is successfully connected to the wireless router, a log of this connection and the specific MAC address, the media access control of each device, is kept on the device. If a user previously selected the connect automatically setting while connecting to the wireless router, which is a common default setting, the device will connect to the router automatically without any user input. Gotcha. These devices would not or would have to be in close proximity of the router to be shown on the MAC address log. The data previously stored on the wireless router located at 1122 King Road and preserved by Charter Spectrum may show individual MAC addresses of devices connected to the device. If the suspect had previously connected to the wireless router, was in close proximity to the wireless router located at the residence, this device may have automatically connected and appear on the MAC address logs. This could provide evidence of when a device was in close proximity of the router on the night Madison, Logan, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan were murdered. I requested the assistance of the Latah County Prosecutor's Office in applying for a warrant to serve on Charter for the data records preserved and stored at Charter Communications associated with the Spectrum wireless router with serial number blah 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 and MAC blah blah and Spectrum cable modem with MAC blah blah and serial number blah blah from the time frame of September 14th to November 14th, 2022. On November 21st, 2022, I was granted a warrant for the data preserved by Charter and served the warrant at approximately 20:39 hours via email to blah@charter.com. On November 22nd, 2022, I received an email from M stating that all the files were ready to download via the Charter portal. I logged into the portal, downloaded the files, and saved them to a computer in the secure forensic lab at the Moscow Police Department. I completed the warrant, return receipt, and affidavit. These documents were sent to the M prosecutor's office to be returned to the court. I also emailed a copy of the receipt to Charter, as this was the originating email address associated with the documents. Okay, so Lawrence reviewed that on the 29th, and Maury wrote it on the 28th. And okay, I think I am going to call that a night. We made some good time, almost 2 hours, and I will plan on coming back live. So today we went through 25 to 40, and tomorrow I'll go through 41 to 50, and then maybe see if we can keep plugging along. But I also feel like I do really want to do that other live minute I've been trying to do for a couple of weeks, but maybe I'll just see how people are feeling, if anyone is on here. But yeah, I hope everyone was at least like somewhat entertained and is learning new things like I am, and maybe having a lot of the same suspicions that I'm having, or just like the same, like, kind of like, what, you know what I mean? Say what moments, but I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. I'm excited to go out tonight and I'll like do a little clear some energy, and hope you guys all have a great evening. Peace and love. Bye. Oh, wait. Also, please subscribe and like the video, but more importantly, subscribe. It's free. Be super awesome. I swear I keep like losing, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like in the last 5 months, it's gone up like 3 people, but I swear it had been up more than that. So I'm like, are people? Anyways, I don't need to think about that. I'm just glad that I am now having balls to be able to actually go live and feel somewhat comfortable with it. And I really, really hope to make this a routine. Okay, check you guys later. Bye.